RD, we got a text earlier in the show from John in Mountain Home. Anxious, antsy. Like Arkansas hasn't added a player just out of the portal. We saw the news of Adoro and that he is entering the NBA draft. Any chatter, any thoughts on Arkansas maybe getting a player to commit soon, sometime this week?
Yeah, I think by the end of the weekend we'll probably hear some news. I'd be shocked if we don't. The dead period ends after the 10th, and things start happening then. Dead period, as far as that allows guys to start visiting, and coaches being on the road to be able to visit prospects, transfers, or what have you. But I think sometime this weekend. Late last week, I was hearing promising stuff about Malik Ewing, the big man from Florida State, and also Nick Pringle from South Carolina. I think Arkansas, at least the last that I checked, I feel optimistic about those two guys. Still checking on some others, but those two I feel optimistic about. Not saying that they're for sure coming, but I think things, at least the last I checked, were trending in the right direction.
Hang on, Richard, because Ty Richardson earlier reported here on the Morning Rush, it was a Ty tidbit that Nick Pringle would be the first to sign for the Razorbacks out of the portal. What do you say to that?
It wouldn't surprise me at all. I'm just reason you're cautious about going out on a limb about kids. You got agents involved, and what's their number one priority? Try to get the most money for their kids. With all the activity, let's face it, we've talked about college basketball, college football being the wild, wild west. That's exactly what you got, and agents are running this whole thing. Let me tell you, and they're becoming more sophisticated, especially the ones that really kind of got into the business recently. They're starting to learn the ropes and become a little bit more sophisticated in how they do business and how you do that. If you do it right, you can get your client a little bit more money, and obviously you get a percentage of that. So there's a lot of activity that's never going to be made public, but a lot of stuff's going on, and sometimes you get the information and it sounds really good, and then it can change in a heartbeat. So that's why I'm reluctant to say it's a done deal, but I like I said, I am optimistic. We'll see.
On Adoro Theroux, there wasn't any mention in his Instagram and Twitter posts about the possibility of coming back and maintaining his college eligibility. RD, does that lead us to believe it's NBA or bust, or is there still a chance that we could see him in an Arkansas uniform next year?
That's how I would take it. I mean, his family is pretty educated about basketball and how things work, and I'm sure that they got good representation, and Coach Cal and other people, I'm sure helped him as far as what the NBA is thinking about where he would go in the draft. So I think for the most part, guys usually say, they're entering the draft with the, but also keeping the door open to coming back. So, and he didn't mention that obviously. So I tend to think that he's headed where he said he was going.
You mentioned his family. His dad is coaching a USA team. I know he's a Pittsburgh native. I saw he was coaching J.J. Andrews, Sean's son, who's going to be a class of 2026 kid that a lot of people should be interested in, not just Arkansas but elsewhere. Isn't his dad involved with USA basketball somehow, RD?
Yeah, I saw that too, and I'll be honest with you, that was the first that I knew about that. There's obviously some kind of connection there. So, and JJ seemed pretty excited to have that picture taken with him. So I really haven't checked into that, but usually basketball dads are usually involved in some way in basketball. Whether coaching or AAU or what have you, but it does seem like that's the case. But I'm not certain about it.
Yeah. Richard Davenport with us here on the Morning Rush, talking all things recruiting. So let's flip over to football. I know that football going through spring practice. I know a lot of coaches have come in. The spring football has been a little more open, or a lot more open to the media this time of the year. What's important here is as we go through spring, and I know it won't be very many more visits away. In a couple months, we'll be talking about their summer camps.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And in no time, probably July, it'll start heating up about, the first game of the year and what kind of season they're going to have and stuff like that. But I was at Saturday's practice, and I know that every year you have or you hear about optimism, but last year there was optimism going into spring practice and in the middle of spring practice and going into the season. And I think the same is here. I think anytime you have an SEC team, that you're going to have good quality athletes, good quality football players, and there's going to be reason for optimism. The thing is, our Arkansas last year, and we've talked about it many times, is you cut down the turnovers and they win 8 or 9 games. That's going to be I think that's going to be the case this year. If they can minimize the turnovers, I think they have a chance to have a better than average season. So we'll see. And I do. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to dispute Coach Petrino, but I think we've all kind of thought with Taylor Green going into the second year under Coach Petrino and being familiar with the league, he should take about a 10, 15, 20% jump as far as an improvement. And if he does that and minimizes the turnovers and protects the ball better, that ought to equal a few more wins, I would think. But we'll see. But I think offensively, I think they got a chance to be pretty special just because of his ability. But also, I think the offensive line has a chance to be improved, and I think the receivers are going to surprise some people. I think there was optimism going into spring practice about the receivers and the transfers and what they have, as far as high school guys on the team and also the running back position. I think there's no doubt. I saw Braylon Russell, and there's no doubt he's definitely lost some weight and looks a little quicker. And then I think Mike Washington is definitely a good addition. The New Mexico State running back, so I think those two guys are going to carry the load. But and then defensively, I think you have probably as much talent, young talent, at the linebacker position that you've had at Arkansas in a long time. Obviously that has to translate, on the field. But I think you're starting to see that in spring practice, and you got some older guys that are already, have been contributors. So I think that definitely helps. So, and then I think Cameron Ball and David Oakey. David just came back, but with them missing a lot of the spring practice, I think that's given some of the other defensive linemen, especially inside guys, a lot of reps, and I think that's going to bode well for the season.
All right, let's go back to that offensive line for just one more second. I think that's where a lot of people say, "Now, let's go over that again." What'd you see as far as depth? And I mean, you hit on a few guys there, but is this going to be an offensive line, in your opinion, based on watching a few practices, that can be, 8 or 9 guys deep come September?
That's what I've been hearing since probably early February, that they're going to have 8 or 9 guys. Last year they had about 6. This year they have about 8 or 9 guys that they believe that they can play SEC football. And one of them, I'll be honest with you, I'm somewhat surprised. He was the first guy that ran out at right tackle. I'm talking about Shaq McCoy, the massive Oregon transfer, all 6'8", 370 or whatever. whatever he ate the night before, I'm sure, impacted his weight from day to day. But I thought, I'll be honest with you, I thought that he would probably be more of a development guy and maybe contribute next year. But he's going to play. He's going to play, and I think they've been pleasantly surprised that he's came in and he's able to move his feet well enough to play at tackle, and he's definitely making inroads. And I was kind of surprised to see him out there be the first right tackle. So I think he's the one that a lot of people were excited about. But I'll be honest with you, like I said, I thought that he was maybe a year away, but evidently that's not the case. And when you're as massive as he is, and he's one of the biggest kids I've ever run into doing this. Not only just forget about maybe him. Might get beat or whatever. Maybe his feet's not the way they should be. As far as in pass pro, he is so big. Just to get around him is a chore. That right there in itself can help you, and then all he has to do is lean on you. And if he gets his hands on you, I don't know too many defensive linemen that are going to be able to fight off a 370-pound, 6'8" guy. That's as massive and as strong as he is.
All right, last question, RD, before we let you go. I think Arkansas fans, some have forgotten that A.J. Green is back, former Razorback, Oklahoma State Cowboy, now I guess in the defensive backfield for now. Have you got a chance to see him at all?
Yeah, I saw him, and I asked some people, and they've been happy with what he's been doing in spring. So I think you're going to see him on the field next year. Spelling Russell in Washington, but I think with his speed, I'm sure that Coach Petrino will try to find some packages that can help him get on the field and utilize that speed. So
So he is playing running back. It's not because I know there's rumors.
Yeah, he is playing running back. And initially, I was told he was going to be a defensive back, but that obviously wasn't the case. I think they went into spring, saying most likely thinking, okay, let's give this guy a chance at running back. A lot of times you give guys whatever position that they want to play. You usually give him a shot, and he's done enough, obviously, evidently, to stay there. So you got to be happy for him. He's back to where he originally started. So I'll be excited to see him on Thursday when they scrimmage, and then obviously for the spring game.